In this week's broadcast, we talked to Lohr, which produced wagons that can deal with winds of 140 kilometers per hour. And we discussed the Black Sea Baltic corridor that should bring Poland and Ukraine closer together. This is RailFreight Live. Hello everyone, it's Friday 19 February and in the studio with me is Nikos Papatolios, who will be taking us along the Black Sea Baltic corridor in just a few minutes. Now, this morning, Maersk announced that it is building another terminal in Hungary. Apart from its hub in Budapest, it is investing 40 million euros in Zalaegerszeg, which is located on the transport access to the Adriatic ports of Trieste, Koper and Rijeka. It is a strategic investment in an area that is expected to increase in importance. And the UIRR presented some positive figures of combined transport in the last quarter of 2020. The industry presented a 10% increase, which was mainly due to more capacity on the network for freight and a relatively mild winter. This year, however, started with a hurdle for further growth. The ban on pocket wagons in Denmark cost the industry €1 million per week, and the ban is still in place. Everything is currently put in motion to resolve the situation. Now, speaking of semi-trailers, the risk of strong winds, as those on the Great Belt Bridge, has been the concern of manufacturer Lohr Technologies for many years. On the French coastal lines between Nîmes and Montpellier and Narbonne to Perpignan, winds may exceed 140 km per hour, and currently only Lohr wagons are fit for this challenge. This morning, I spoke to Marie-José Navarre, Vice President at the company, about safe transportation of semi-trailers. Mrs. Navarre, the wagons of Lohr are capable of dealing with strong winds when they exceed 90 kilometers per hour on the French coastline. What do these wagons have that other wagons do not have?
Before, maybe some words about the story of our wagons, because Lohr developed this technology, design and manufacture this wagon since more than 20 years. And of course, we have a different generation of wagons. And when we study the second long line between Luxembourg and Perpignan, which is at the border of France and Spain, with our clients, the railway operator, we were aware of a problem with strong high crosswinds. The railway authority aware us it was impossible to run with combined wagons when the crosswind was increased 90 kilometers per day. And it was around 50 days per year. And it was quite incompatible with the target of our clients to run daily 3 return persons per day. So it was because of a previous accident with a container that fly out a combined classic wagons. So we study a specific device, the locking device that fixes the kingpin of the semi-trailer on the wagons. Very seriously, we prove it with a campaign of tests. We design it so that we can guarantee the stability of the wagons and of its load up to 140 kilometers per hour for crosswind. So after this test and homologation, since 27, our wagons, the second generation, with this specific device, has been running on this line along the Mediterranean Sea, and frequently we have winds. And so with this specific device, we are able to run every day without any problem.
Yeah. And what is what is the risk that you're trying to avoid or that you're avoiding? What is the risk that comes with this?
The main risk is, an accident when the load, so the semi-trailer or the container, fly out the pocket. So there was this tragic accident on the Great Belt in Denmark 2 or 3 years ago. And at this moment, all the security authority of railway asked us to explain what was the specific device with Lohr wagons and his ability to guarantee the stability of the wagon and of its load.
Yeah, you mentioned the Great Belt Bridge in Denmark, and now recently there was another incident where people considered it as a dangerous situation. What do you think? Was this a dangerous situation, and is the Great Belt Bridge equally risky as the area in France that you're operating?
I am not an expert of security. So first of all, to be very honest and modest, we have a good vision of our product, and all the effort we've done to design a safety looking device. I think that with the climate change, we will have in the future more and more this period of very strong crosswinds. So, of course, it is an advantage we have with our wagons, because the only possibility is to stop all the combined railway traffic when there are strong crosswinds. So, in my opinion, it is a problem addressed to all the community of manufacturer, operator, and safety expert to stabilize this problem in the future. It's very important because we will have those period more and more.
Yeah.
So maybe it's an advantage for Lohr railway system. We do it not to have an advantage. We do it to respond the need of our clients. It's what is important, because if we want to be in competition and if we want to increase the shift from road to rail, we must be focus on the best knowledge of what is a semi-trailer. A semi-trailer is designed to be on the road, and Lohr company his first activity is to be a leader for car carriers to transport on road car. So we have, I think so, a good knowledge of what is a semi-trailer. And we design our wagons around the specificity and the best way to shift it on the road, on the rail.
Yeah.
So I think it is a common problem for the community of railway, and specifically the community of combined railway.
Yeah, and it's a common problem, but therefore it surprises me even more that you're the only one allowed to operate, or your wagons to be operated on the French coastline. Aren't there any other safety measures on the market?
I think there is also the problem of the gauge, and before a colleague of OPAC explained that, of course, we have in the south of, in the west and south of Europe, in France, in Spain, in Italy, in UK, a problem with the gauge. It's historical network are smaller than on the east part of Europe. For us, it is, I can say small is beautiful, because our wagon was designed for a very smaller gauge. And you know that our wagon is very low part, only 22 centimeter from railway. So I don't want to give any lesson to the public authority, to the French Railway or Ministry of Transport. I only say that if we must challenge the problem with gauge, and it could be a good subject, I only want to underline that we will have important civil works on the infrastructure, around 2 billion of works to put more than 100 tunnel to the good gauge, and it will be very important works on the network, and currently all the traffic will be impacted. So this subject is a serious subject. The problem is not to have a condition of competition not open. I really think that it is a very important subject, but we must pay attention to the impact of civil works on the network, because it will penalize all the traffic, and specifically RailFreight traffic. During the COVID crisis, we all realized that there were less passenger train, and for the railway freight, it was better.
Yeah. Lohr is a system that allows not only for the transport of craneable, but also non-craneable trailers, and it has a horizontal loading technique, which is currently applied in 7 terminals. One of these terminals is in Calais, near the Channel Tunnel to the UK, and we will first have a look at a short movie of this terminal. So we talked about loading techniques for non-craneable trainers on the show before. What makes Lohr's technology different from those other techniques?
The philosophy of our technology is to allow the safe and horizontal transshipment from all standard semi-trailer, craneable and not craneable, from road to rail. And the very interesting specification of our technology are more on the terminal than on the wagons. Since more now 20 years, our wagons, which is maybe the grandfather of the wagons of the piggyback solution, allow the transshipment of more than 2 million semi-trailer. And you know that there is also a great impact on the climate because we save more than 2 million tons of CO2 with our technology. So what we learn during those 20 years and with this different line under operation is that we must be very close of the need and the satisfaction of the need of the final clients, which is a road transport. You know that the semi-trailer is a source of revenue for a road transport. So we must save time and money for them with this classic transshipment.
Yeah. Last year there was a terminal built in Poznan with this loading technique, and there was a successful connection made between Luxembourg and Poland. What else is in the pipeline?
We have different projects in the pipeline. Some are, of course, very confidential and are not able to speak of them, but we want to develop on the east part of Europe. We were focusing the first time on the connection between France, Italy, UK, and Spain. So we want to develop on the different corridor in direction of Russia and the east part of Europe, because there are a lot of semi-trailer on the road, and it is an obligation to offer a solution to shift semi-trailer on rail. A project is public, so now I can't speak of it because our Prime Minister announced it in last July. It is a very interesting project because our client is not a classic railway client. It is a ferry company, Brittany Ferry, to make the connection between UK, Ireland and Spain with a new line open between Cherbourg, the port of Cherbourg, and the Bayonne in the south of France.
Interesting. Now, how do you see the future of semi-trailers on rail, and what is your role in this?
We expect that on European side, with the Commission, we will have. They will recognize that the horizontal transshipment is adapt to shift more and more semi-trailer from road to rail. We have competitors. It's a good thing to have competitors. Cargo Beamer, of course, and all the technology that put also specific pocket on classic combined transport. So all this ecosystem is good for the future, because I insist on this point. The competition is not between the railway company, it is with the road, and we must offer them technology very close of their need.
Yeah. Okay, I will not hold you any longer. You have an appointment with the French Minister of Transport, so thank you very much.
Not for railway system.
Okay.
For electric shuttle and autonomous electric shuttle that we develop in our group.
Okay, well, that's also important. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's 2 months after the initial proposal for an intermodal corridor extending from the Black Sea to the Baltic, the situation looks more concrete than just a suggestion. The corridor will provide a reliable land transport alternative to existing solutions that are mainly overseas. And in a recent webinar, the project was discussed by all the parties involved. Now, Nikos, you followed that webinar. What are the main takeaways?
Hi, Mayuri. Yes, indeed, I followed the webinar. The discussion about the corridor began at last December, but last week's webinar showed that we have a transition now from, as you said, a vague proposal to a more concrete plan. Looking at the webinar, we have some key takeaways that we can take a look at. Shall we move forward?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Let's start with Sławomir Michalewski, Vice President of Finance at the Port of Gdansk, discussing the role of the port in the corridor.
Why we want to create a corridor? The obvious reason is to offer better service to the customers and all those who consider to be a part of the maritime business and the cargo owners, beneficial cargo owners. As you can see, currently we have an alternative. We want to create an alternative to the existing connections We have had a lengthy discussion with my colleagues from the commercial department and from the marketing department, what we can offer that differs from the existing solutions. Yeah. So why we want to create the opportunity for the ship owners, for the cargo owners, is to shorten the way from the Black Sea to the Baltic Sea. Of course, the shortest way is through the corridor on land. We also have to take into the consideration the fact of the economies that are around the Baltic Sea and around the Black Sea. Because if we look at the Baltic Sea, we see that we have 8 economies with the total GDP of $7 trillion. At the same time, on the Black Sea, we have the 5 economies with the total GDP of $1.3 trillion. If we exclude from the Baltic Sea part Russia, which has access on both sides to both cities, so we still have the economies with $5.3 trillion. That creates an opportunity for exchange of the cargo around these areas. We can not disregard, but we should underline the role of Turkey in this system, because according to the Standard Chartered Bank and IMF, Turkey is going to be ranked 5th in the global top 10 list in 2030. After, of course, China, India, USA, and Indonesia. So the volume of traffic, the production that will come from Turkey and the surrounding country will determine the opportunity that should be reflected in the corridor we want to create on trains. As you can see, we have a direct connection between Ukrainian ports by truck today, Odessa, Chernomorsk, Yuzhny, to Poland. We have 3 country crossings with one which is the standard former Soviet Union gauge for trains to Slavkov. And as you can see, there are 3 terminals that specialize also in the bulk cargoes. And we can shorten the distance between Baltic Sea and the Black Sea by approximately 8 to 10 days. That I think it means something for the cargo owners. How we prepared to serve this potential traffic via the corridor. In the recent 2 years, we, together with the Polish railway system, invested more than 280 million euros in upgrading the railway system in the port of Gdańsk by creation of 80 kilometers of new rails, upgrading 3 cargo stations. This should also offer for today unlimited access to the port of Gdańsk from the south of Europe. And this is one of the pictures that in the best way presents our current opportunity and the corridor to the south, because this picture is facing directly the south of Europe. So the access to the port is already ready.
All right, let's now move forward to Dominik Landa, Commercial Director at DCT Gdańsk, who discusses the possible missing links of the corridor.
Obviously, this is only one way of approaching and how the cargo is going from Turkey and vice versa, Ukraine to the Baltics. Now, if you wanted to go via the sea, it takes a long way. Yes, when we look at the map, you could actually easily cross it. And this is what is happening right now. We have the corridors going via La Spezia. We have the corridors via the Adriatic. Yes, we have some traffic going via Ukraine to the Baltics. However, it is not, as far as I know, this is not going via the rail and not linking the port of Gdańsk with the Ukrainian ports by rail. What we are missing, ladies and gentlemen, when we look at the situation, what it could have been. Now, DCT has an extensive feeder network that is handled by our partners. Now, We have connections with the United Kingdom, with Sweden, with the Baltics. Now, we know, and it was already mentioned, that there are several terminals which can link the rail traffic with the port of Gdansk to Ukraine, which is a wide gauge. Now, we currently have the rail connection between Zamość, DCT Gdansk and the port of Gdansk and Sławków. To Sławków, we have more than 8 to 9 services a week that go on a regular basis, long intermodal trains. Now with Zamość, it just started, but we are seeing that this is an ongoing process and it's building up. So we have the coverage from the north on the feeder services. We have, for example, the link to North Shipping. We have the links going to the south of Poland. And we know that the Ukrainian ports have a very extensive network going across the Black Sea. Now, what we are missing is just a spot. Now, obviously, we see some traffic coming over on the trucks, but is it something that is the end goal? I don't think so. I mean, it's a long way to cover. So why would a Turkish customer or any other customer from this region be going either across the whole of the sea or just using the truck? I mean, the Turkish trucker, for example, can just cross the strait, go through the EU and go up, right? It's one way. It's a trucking. It is expensive, but it's the fastest one. Now, the other one is you could use the sea services going to La Spezia and then use either trucking or rail and then approach or come to UK or Nordic or EU. Yes, but when looking at the map, I mean, this seems to be something that we are very close to achieving. I mean, this is just one link that we miss. So why not try it?
And last but not least, Berzin Sedvins, Executive Director at the Liski Transport Service Center, talks about another solution that already exists and that could set an example for the solution of the Baltic to the Black Sea corridor.
I would like to say that I represent this missing link, or as previous speakers show in the map. But actually, it's a wrong view on it. And actually, in previous, I'm here in Ukraine just 4 months, but Ukraine Railway and Liski are working very tough actually to setting up these new corridors. And for sure, one of these corridors is the Turkey and Port of Gdansk. Actually, after the first working group among us, actually, the Port of Gdansk and ports of Odessa and also Ukraine Railway and Liski, actually, we are working very tough. And I would like to say that right now, in the next weeks, we are already setting all things what concern this route and what concern prices, what concern delivery time, and what concern actually all technical things. What I see is that Liski and Ukrzaliznytsia actually is ready to give the service, give exact service from point to point, exact in time. It's very important for sure for this all this route as such. And I'm right now, I can say, yes, we are ready to do it. And what else, as I mentioned, together with our partners, actually, we are ready to start the services in some weeks, actually. Some weeks, at least when we discuss it, it will be at least the first quarter of this year as such. You see, it's already practical work. It's not just on the map. What we should actually to add there, it's very important. It's again, we already discussed with PKP Connect, and we should add for this price also, for example, till the Gdansk, this price is from railway side in Poland, and also for sure if somebody from the customers looking also to Scandinavian countries or something like that. Somebody of us or somebody of this route should actually calculate all prices together and will be responsible for this corridor as such. For sure, as we understand, it's very difficult to be among actually all participants in this route, but it's possible.
And with that, we've come to an end of this week's show. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, RailFreight Live, in order to receive updates of new shows or videos. For now, see you next week. Goodbye.
En ook u kunt hier zitten, want deze coronaproof studio is te huur voor uw congres, vergadering of webinar. We hebben alle techniek in huis om u hierbij te helpen. Kijk voor meer informatie op promedia.nl. Ik zie u graag in onze studio.